Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel My Research Support. So friends, today in this video we'll be discussing about the most important part of research paper submission process. So whenever you submit your research or review paper to any journal, then it has to pass to 3 stages. So the first and most important stage is preliminary stage, where whenever you submit your research paper, then it would be handled by the editorial team or editor in chief, and that editor-in-chief will look into the formatting part of your research article, then your cover letter, graphical abstract, your plagiarism, grammatical errors, etc. And based on that, they will make a first and preliminary decision that whether your article would be rejected or it can be sent to the editor in that particular niche, where that editor will look into your research article from technical point of view. And at that stage also, that editor can reject your research article if that editor found that this research article is not of that importance, maybe novelty, originality, etc. So based on that, it can be rejected in the second stage, or it can be moved towards the revision process. Means assigning editor in that particular niche would be the second stage for your research paper. So to reach that stage, you have to first pass to the first stage, which is a preliminary stage. These stages may vary from journal to journal, but in general these stages would remain same, that editor-in-chief, then editor in that particular niche, and then reviewers. And hence, to pass from the preliminary stage, you need to write an excellent cover letter, you need to prepare an excellent graphical abstract, you have to write title page properly. So let us start with the cover letter. So the cover letter is the first impression of your whole research article. Means editor will first look into your cover letter and then he will observe rest of your submissions. So here we will be discussing about some important points that you need to incorporate in your cover letter to make it interesting. And I'll be discussing here my own cover letter that I have used for publishing my different research articles in different journals. So you can take reference of that research articles, you can take reference of whatever points, whatever aspects that I am covering in my cover letter, and you may write your cover letter may be better than this. Okay, so this is a commonly used cover letter format. So I'll be discussing this with the help of total 7 points. Okay, this is the cover letter that I have written to publish my article into Elsevier journal. And almost for all Elsevier journals, this cover letter format will remain same, but still I'll recommend you to just refer to this journal guidelines for that particular journal. So the first point is obviously you have to address editor, you can write to the editor and that journal name. And then second point is subject. In subject you can put your research paper title here. And then the third point is an introduction of your research paper. Here also you can just mention your research title, research paper title, and you can also mention the author names. Okay, the authors of these manuscripts are, you can just mention here all author names. And fourth point is scope and relevance. Okay, here you can see that I have mentioned about my topic, my area has attracted considerable attention as a promising approach in this field. You can identify about your field, that what is importance, and then despite several investigations. Okay, first I have mentioned the relevance of my topic, why it is relevant. Then despite several investigations, whatever knowledge which is available is poorly understood, or few questions have still remained unanswered. So that has become the scope and relevance for your area. So you can just modify, you can take reference of it, you can modify it, and then you have to continue this point. So this is scope and relevance. So this is the problems, and hence novelty and significance, fifth point. Okay, you have to maintain a proper flow, and then here in this portion you have to mention in first 1 to 2 lines you have to mention what you have done. So there is a problem, there are some limitations, and hence I have carried out this research on this specific topic. And then you have to mention your key outcomes of the research paper, significance or novelty. You can say what is new, what new results you have got. So the discussion part, key results, key outcomes that you have to mention here. So that is again the most important part. And then you have to just close this cover letter, means closing. You have to write few lines in this way. We strongly believe our manuscript will be valuable contribution, blah blah blah. And then the last part is obviously name and affiliation of corresponding author. If you are corresponding author, you can just write your name, your maybe affiliations, research scholar, associate professor, etc., your department, and your address and details. Okay, so this address and details and name should be of a corresponding author. So if you are a corresponding author, you can write your name, otherwise you can write your supervisor's name if he is a corresponding author. So this is a cover letter which is used in, or which is employed in most of the elsewhere journals. However, I do have one other format. This is a format which is used by Taylor and Francis. Okay, see, whatever points we have covered or we have discussed, that 7 points will remain same, that you have to cover aim and scope, significance and novelty. Okay, the only thing is here you have to add your details. Like in previous cover letter we have discussed that you have to add the corresponding author's details in the last portion, but here you have to add your details in the very first stage. That is the only difference, and everything will remain same. So to write this cover letter, you can obviously write, if you are very much familiar with your written article, you can just simply go on typing and you can just write key points of significance, novelty, and you can make your this cover letter effective. But in this case you may take help of ChatGPT if you want. So see how you can use the ChatGPT to write the cover letter. See, blindly do not create a cover letter and copy paste in your Word. So but you can just to write the main body of cover letter, obviously you can take help of it. For example, if you can write in this way, consider abstract and conclusion and write a cover letter for research paper submission. Or instead of writing this abstract and conclusion, you can write, you have to copy your abstract and conclusion part here. Consider next text and write a cover letter for research paper submission. So you can copy your abstract of your research paper. See, please understand one point. When you are rewriting your own work by using ChatGPT, then that won't comes under AI. Okay, so that is considered as a human writing. So don't worry about that your cover letter would be detected under AI detection. So but if you still have any doubts, then you can skip this part and you can go on writing this cover letter manually. You can copy this abstract here, and then you can also copy your conclusion and you can create. See, this will write a complete, this format is a little different, so forget about this format. So you have to only stick to this portion, middle portion. Okay, I think you have to just analyze the size of the text, and you can also, you can just prompt here as make it short, so that see if it is considerably long, then you can just put make it short. So in this case you will get a short version of your cover letter. Okay, and you can just refer to this portion. This is basically a summarized form of your abstract and conclusions, and most of the times we mention our key outcomes in conclusion part and even few key outcomes in the abstract as well. So that is what this ChatGPT will summarize your findings. Obviously you have to go through this text, but if you found that this paragraph suits very well to my theme of my research paper, then you can just copy this paragraph into your cover letter, main body of cover letter. So in this way, obviously you can take help of ChatGPT in order to write your cover letter. Right after the cover letter, the second most important part is preparing an excellent graphical abstract. In most of the reputed journals, it is compulsory to submit a graphical abstract along with your submission. However, in few journals, it is an option to submit a graphical abstract. In that case also, it is recommended to submit a graphical abstract because it will add an advantage to your submission. Now let us first understand about the graphical abstract, and then I'll be discussing about how to prepare a graphical abstract and which are the softwares that you need to use. So the first important point is size of your graphical abstract, and for that you need to stick to the journal guidelines. Means journal to journal the size of graphical abstract may vary. So the second important point is representation. Please understand this point clearly. So there is no any thumb rule, there is no any standard template, only you have to use that template to prepare a graphical abstract. Okay, here in this video I will be showing you few templates. You can make use of those templates or you can modify those templates to make a unique graphical abstract. And preliminary, the graphical abstract is a general summary of your research article, and that should roughly include 25% background, 50% key results and 25% outcomes, and there has to be a proper linking in between all three parameters. And in order to represent that, you can make use of different figures. Okay, you can make use of figures already available in the research paper, no problem in that, or you can take 2-3 figures and you can combine into one figure. And along with this figure or figures, you can make use of proper captions and labels. So I found that many researchers make use of title of a research paper into a graphical abstract, but that is actually not recommended because title is generally very long and graphical abstract need to be very concise. So you can convert that long title of 15 to 17 words maybe in 4 to 5 words, and that will make effective, and those words you can use in your graphical abstract. And along with this, you can use some text maybe in the form of captions and labels to describe some schematics if required, but most probably the 80% part should reflect with the schematic and maybe 15 to 20% part of the text. And the third important point is conciseness. So make it very concise. So as I told you that you can just club 2-3 important figures into one figure, but you should only include the essential part of it. Means it should be a simple, your graphical abstract should be simple to understand and concise in nature, and that is why I am saying you have to use a short title, and you have to convert. If you are combining 3 to 4 figures, then you have to just generate a new figure and you can include that figure, so that is better and it will become a concise in nature. Then the next point is readability. So if you are using text in your graphical abstract, then make sure that its font size is sufficient enough so that it can be read easily, and it must be in proportion to the schematic used. Now let us discuss about how to prepare graphical abstract. So you might have heard about that people make use of CorelDRAW, Photoshop and few other softwares to prepare a graphical abstract, but I'll recommend you to simply use Microsoft PowerPoint. This is the simplest software. It has the simplest interface, user interface, and we are all familiar with the PowerPoint, and using PowerPoint also it is possible to prepare an excellent graphical abstract. But there is a problem with the PowerPoint. If you are creating your graphical abstract using this PowerPoint, and if you are saving your file or slide as save as in JPEG, then in that case with the default setting you will get the basic resolution or low resolution image, and due to that you have to follow some steps that I will be discussing here, so that whenever you will save your file, means whenever you will use save as into JPEG, then you will be getting high resolution file and that would be accepted in a journal. So please follow these steps carefully. Okay, so before we discuss few steps to export this file in HD image, let me just export this file with default setting. So file, then save as. You can save to any folder. I am saving this file as before, and this is format is JPEG. Okay, just save this file, just this slide, and then you can go back to that folder. Okay, this is the folder. You can see the size of this file is 164 KB. You can open this file and you can zoom it. Okay, So you can see this file is not at all in HD version, and you can just right click on that, right click and details and properties. Here also in these details you can find this DPI is 96 DPI. So most of the time the default resolution is 96 DPI. You can check in your PC. You can directly, with default setting, you can directly convert it into HD version. That is, it is okay. You need not to follow this settings, or you need not to change this setting. Okay, now here in search bar you have to search for registry editor. Registry editor, you can see this. So you have to just open this app. Okay, it will ask you for permission. You can just click on S, then you have to just move to the H key current user. So this option, okay, you have to open this option, and then under that you have to just click on software. Under software you will find different softwares. Under that you have to just go to the Microsoft, okay, because this PowerPoint is Microsoft Office PowerPoint. So under Microsoft you have to search for Office. You can see here Office is there, so you have to open this Office, and under Office you will find this PowerPoint. Under Office it will be showing you a version. I am using Microsoft Office 2016, so 16 I have to open, and under that I have to open PowerPoint, and then go to the options, and here you have to right click, then new, and this D word 32-bit value you have to select. Okay, so one file will be generated that you have to rename as export bitmap resolution. Export bitmap resolution. Okay, I have already created a file, and hence I am unable to create a file because the file with the same name is created here. You can see, so this is a file, export bitmap resolution. Just right click on it and you have to modify. Here, see, this is a default. You have to click on decimal. You can see on decimal the default value comes as 96 DPI. So now I need to change this. So most probably in all the journals the 300 DPI or maybe more than that is accepted. So I'll just put a 300 DPI and I'll just click on OK. Okay, now you can close this everything, get back to the PowerPoint. Now let's see, file, save as. Now I'll rename this as after, and file type is JPG. So save this file, just this one, and then I'll get back to the folder. Okay, after. Now you can see here the size of this file is 734 and this is 164. So here also you can open this file and you can zoom it so that you will see whether the image exported is in HD version. Okay, now you can see that I have zoomed this part, and then so to confirm you can also just follow the same steps, like you can see the properties and details. Here you can see that the file, exported file, is of 300 DPI. Likewise you can either put 300 or 600, it is more than enough, and you can just export the file into HD figure or image format that is accepted by all the journals. Okay, so let us now discuss about how to prepare an abstract. So the first point that we have discussed is the size of an abstract. So for that you have to refer to that journal homepage, or under authors guidelines section it is clearly mentioned. For example, this is 500 by 200. So you can just check in pixels, centimeter, and accordingly you can change the size of the slide. So under design you have to just move to this option, slide size, and then custom slide size. Okay, make it custom. Then you can change this. I need 500 wide, or maybe 50 by 20. Put OK. Okay. So once you have done with the size, then you have to think about that how to organize your graphical abstract. As I told you, there is no any standard format. Still I'll be showing you some standard graphical abstracts, but there are some abstract that you won't find any kind of format. So it is up to the creativity of everyone, your skills. Okay, you can prepare the graphical abstract within maybe 5 minutes, and it may take maybe up to 10 hours. So it depends on how you are doing it. So let us first discuss about few standard graphical, I cannot say standard, but few graphical abstract. Those example I found from elservier website, maybe Springer and Wiley website. Then we will see that what you should have and how you can start for this graphical abstract. Now this is a graphical abstract that I found on the Springer Nature website. Okay, they have clearly mentioned it. So see, the first important point is you can just take some standard blocks, like here you can just insert shapes and the square blocks. You can use maybe this, you can use for short title. You can copy this, paste, try to use the faint colors that will highlight a text which will place here within the box. I may use, and I can put some text here. Okay, if it is short title, you can even put this title here within this space, and you can utilize this complete space maybe for representation of any other. So in this way you can just make outline of your graphical abstract. And let us get back to some standard abstract. So here you can see 1, 2, 3 blocks are used, and in that you can either use some text as this author has used, and you can use some schematics, some artwork, some elements to explain what you have mentioned here. Okay, this is a key message. Then different methods, here you can see different methods, and as a result of it, what are the key outcomes or main results. Okay, so main results you can explain in words, and similarly any diagram that you have, any graph you have plotted, if it suits to the main outcome, you can just include it here. Okay, you have to try to put the words as less as possible. Before you start preparing for your graphical abstract, you should have any accompanied software. For example, the researchers in biology may use BioRender. I make use of this Canva, okay, where I would get some images, some clip arts that I can include in my graphical abstract to make it effective. For example, so create design, you have to click on that, and you can take any image. I'll just click on the thumbnail, and from there, for example, if I am just preparing a graphical abstract in biology, then I can just search for biological materials, and you have to move to this option, elements. Okay, sorry, you have to search here under elements. So when you will search, then you will get hundreds of graphics. If you want to use this graphic to explain or to accompany the words you have used in graphical abstract, or you can make use of images as well. For example, you will get a lot of photos. I'll take this example. If I want to use only this one, I have explained something about this and I wanted to make use of only this. I don't want this background. You can just remove background. So select this picture, edit, and you can click on background remover. When you will export, then click on the share, download and PNG, where you have to click on this option, transparent background. Okay, when you will do that, then basically you can put this image on in any of the blog. Okay, it won't be having any background. Copy and then graphical abstract, I'll paste here. You can see this. If I am explaining something here and I have to use in this way, then you can use this, and along with you can write some words here. Okay, this will make your graphical abstract effective. So I am not saying that you can only use this Canva, but yes, to make your graphical abstract more effective, you have to use some clip arts elements. Okay, you can find out if any specific tool is there in your field, then you can make use of that tool, like biorender in biology. So obviously you can let us know in comment box so that our users can also get benefit of it. So let's get back to this. So now let us discuss about the formats. If you are thinking about the specific format, then make use of some standard blocks, as I said. Okay, in this way. Then in this way also, this is an ordinary way that many research scholars make use of it, that a title here in the left upper corner and here conclusion. Okay, short title and short conclusion, and in between you can put, or you can just use some clip art to show the flow. Means you can use some graphs that you have plotted in your manuscript, okay, to show how you have organized your research article. In that way also, see, you can neglect this part because this is a published abstract. Okay, so sometimes it does happen that you have carried out some theoretical research, maybe a review article, or you don't have any kind of maximum artworks. In that way, yes, you can use maximum text also, but this is a rare case and you have to avoid using only text within the abstract. But yes, you can find out such types of abstract on even the reputed publishers like Elsevier, Springer, Wiley Publisher. Okay, and I am especially recommending you to use this kind of abstract. Okay, here you can see there is no any format, there is no any title, there is no any conclusion. So everything is there, which is represented with the help of a proper schematic. You can see here. So see, due to that, I am saying that you can refer to these different softwares like Canva and all, where you will get these types of artworks ready-made. Otherwise, you might have to prepare it. Here also you can prepare it with the help of this PowerPoint, but it will take a lot of time. So if you are getting this on some other platforms, then as it is you can copy. Okay, it will save your time. Means this article is related to some multi-principal elements are there. Those reflects high entropy alloys, and high entropy alloys are having high temperature applications. So these are the important points and these are the key results. Okay, so this is a good representation. Then I would like to show you my abstracts. Obviously those are not that much effective, but still. So this is abstract of my review article. Okay, I have two versions of it. So this is my first abstract. I have just discussed that I have carried out the review from 2012 to 2022 and have concentrated on or emphasized on these three parameters, and I found that these are some unique materials and properties that people have emphasized, and out of it that I got these key outcomes. Then this is an abstract of my research paper where I have used short title like gradient microstructure and properties, then a material which is modified into these two categories. These are the results. This is a key graph, and these are some important results that I wanted to just mention in the form of words. So in this way you can prepare a graphical abstract, but keep in mind that there is no any standard format. So use your skills, creativity, and try to make it influensive. Now let me move towards the third and last point of today's video, which is about title page of your submission. So prior to moving toward that, let us understand about the purpose of this title page. So you might have heard about single blind peer review process and double blind peer review process. So in single blind peer review process, it is blind on author side, means authors don't know who are the reviewers. In double blind peer review process, authors as well as reviewers don't know, means reviewers don't know who are the authors and authors don't know who are the reviewers. So in that case, the title page, the purpose of this title page is to get the information about the authors, title, authors, corresponding authors and their addresses. Okay, and that title page in double blind peer review process, that title page is separated from the rest of your article, and that title page remain with the editorial board, and the reviewers don't know that who are the authors. Now the title can be of two types. In one type, it can only consist of title, authors, affiliations, corresponding author and address. However, in second type, along with this information, it can only consist of abstract and keywords, and hence I'll recommend you to just refer to the author guidelines section provided on that particular journal homepage where you are intended to submit your research article. So they have clearly mentioned about the which part the title page should consist of. So accordingly you have to prepare your title page. So let me discuss about my title pages, that I have prepared different title pages for different journals. So you can follow this, and along with that you can also refer to that journal homepage or journal guidelines section. So this is the first type of title page. So similar to the cover letter, you won't find any maximum varieties in title page. So in double blind peer review process, as we have discussed, the title page will be retained with the editorial team, and that won't be shared to the reviewers, and rest of the submission or rest of the article will be shared. Okay, and here simply you have to put your manuscript title, then all author names, then their affiliations, and then the address, contact number of the corresponding author that you have to mention. So these are the only things that you have to mention in your title page. Okay, and in second type, along with these details, as you can see here, you have to add abstract and keywords. That's it. Okay, means corresponding author details in first type we have written here in the last portion separately, but here you have to include it here in the middle. Okay, it's affiliation, author affiliations you have already given here, so it is enough to mention the corresponding author details like email ID and telephone number. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope this information will help you. So please do not forget to subscribe this channel and hit the bell icon to get similar kind of information in near future. So I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.